How's it going today? I'm in our heifer barn here this morning. Had a little mishap last night. You can see there's quite a bit of water, liquid manure in the floor of this barn. The manure pit here was full to the rim. A couple of valves got forgotten yesterday. We pump a little bit of liquid manure to this barn to liquefy the heifer and dry cow manure because that manure is really thick. So we change a couple valves, pump over here for about an hour and then change them back. And one of our guys forgot to change the valves, and then partially I'm responsible too because I should have checked it later in the day and I didn't. And then together with it raining last night, we got 3/4 inches of rain, which means we pump a lot more water out to our storage ponds, which then came over here instead. So this pit overflowed, and we've got quite a mess here. It's a little loud because we've got a pump running, but shut this pump off for a second. We've got it pumped down here 6 inches or so already. So this pit filled up completely, and then that's not a problem, but the problem is it overflowed into this pit, which has our pump and motor down there. I mean, it's off the ground, but obviously this pit was full to the rim. You can see where the level of the manure was there. So I put a sump pump in here this morning. Our herdsman that works in the night called me because he saw that this pit was full. So he called me, I think it was 4 a.m. or something. I came here, put the sump pump in to get this pit to start pumping this empty, a 2-inch sump pump. And then Taryn called, there was a family emergency, so I went back home. And then came back at 7 and put this 3-inch trash pump in here. Got this pumped empty. And I was probably 99% sure that that motor was going to be full of manure and that the hydraulic reservoir was going to be full of manure. But the motor itself, I took the cover off and it's dry. Surprisingly, I can't believe that's dry. And the hydraulic reservoir also doesn't look like it has manure in it. I'm going to open it up here, but from the sight gauge, it shows 3/4 full. And it's hydraulic oil that's in there. Now, it's not dirty, not cloudy. There is a junction box. I'll jump down there quick. So we just temporarily, I put this trash pump in. We're pumping it onto the grass there, and then it runs to a pipe by that telehandler and goes to our storage ponds. So it's still going to our storage ponds. It's just taking the long way around. But we'll go down here quick. I'll show you guys this here. Because I was confident I was going to be swapping a motor here this morning. But now I'm kind of optimistic that that might not be the case. There's still, I don't know, 6 inches in here or so, but the sump pump, there's a bunch of trash around, a bunch of straw. So I opened the cover up to the motor. Well, and you guys can see that it's dry. But there is a junction box right here. And it does look like these wires from this motor are spliced in here. So I think and that was wet. It doesn't look, because up here these are dry. But it did have some manure in there, but there's also a sensor in here that's also spliced in here, and those look like they're kind of wet. They were pushed onto the bottom. Lighting is not very good in here. So I've got the disconnect shut off for that pump, so there's no power going to the pump or to that motor, but I need to make sure that there's no power going to that sensor there. Because what I'm going to do is take the wire nuts off one by one, make sure it's all dry, put it back together. Probably leave that cover off for now so it can dry out. And then potentially try to run this pump here and see what happens. We'll probably give it a little bit. Got that pit pumped down about 6-8 inches, so we've got some time to work with here, and we're bringing the manure with the payloader and the skid steer to the back. We're dumping it straight into the lagoon, so There'll be some liquid going back into that pit, but it's going to fill up pretty slowly here. That pump was easily pumped it down at 6 inches in probably 30 minutes or so. So we got kind of a mess here this morning. So 3/4 inches of rain. Probably wasn't going to have a whole lot to do today other than just our normal jobs, but now could potentially turn into a day of fixing. It's for sure going to turn into a day of cleaning in here. By the time we get this all cleaned up, it's going to take a little bit of time. But I'm going to get down there, start undoing those, and then I'll maybe show you guys when we try to fire this thing back up again. Finished reconnecting those connectors and drying them off, so we're going to try to run it here and see what happens. We'll stop it at the top because we have to clean the manure off the top of that piston there and get oil put back in it. So there's a oil that runs on the top of there to keep that piston lubricated. So the pump runs anyway, so that's a good start. I'm gonna leave those boxes open for now. The one on the motor and then that junction box beside it. Boxes open, let them dry out really good. Clean that off there. Put oil back on it, and then we'll start pumping this pit empty again. And then we'll probably have to get the pressure washer over here to clean all this stuff up here, but once we get those boxes sealed back up. Needed to be done anyways, but now it has to be done today. Try to get this all cleaned up before it all dries and it becomes even more difficult to clean up. I thought we were good, but ran the pump for 5-10 minutes. Then when I walked back over here, it was tripped. It was not running. There was a little bit of smoke coming out of that box, so there must have been some moisture inside that motor that now wrecked the motor more than likely. So looks like we are going to be pulling this motor off, so that's what we're working on here right now. We do have a spare motor or a spare pump by our sand separation room, so we could grab a motor from there if we need. Otherwise, I did ask Chris if he had a motor. It's a 7.5 horse. He's gonna go check that right now. That'd be easier than having to swap them and then having to put a new motor on there, but we'll know that here shortly what we're gonna do. Jose Luis, Josue and Sam just finished cleaning this pit out. They're just gonna go have lunch. They helped me bring the motor back down in there, the new one. Chris had the exact motor that we need, even the same brand, which was kind of lucky. So got it bolted down already. I need to tighten up the coupler, get that put back together, put the guard back on, and then Chris is gonna come wired up for me. And then I want to have him look. We'll put some kind of alarm in here, so if this ever happens again, an alarm will go off well before this pit overflows, so we don't have this problem again in the future. Got the bolts put in here, so now we've got to put this coupler, tighten this coupler back up. There's a guard that goes over top of that, and then we just have to get these wires ran back into this motor. Make sure that cover's tight. Been in this barn for 4 years, and this is the first time we've had this happen, so I guess in theory that's a good thing. Wish it would never happen at all, but on the bright side of things, so we didn't have anything that really needed to get done today, so this couldn't have been a better day for something like this to happen. I'm going to have Chris put some kind of sensor in here, or I've got a float. We just have to hook it up to a light or something, so that we get within, when we get within 2 feet of the top, that light goes off on the inside of the barn and outside of the barn, so that it's pretty much impossible to miss, because I definitely would don't want to do this again here in the future.
Tomorrow.
It's probably just about a week since I filmed that with the manure pump. It's been a little bit of a crazy week, right guys?
Yeah.
Been just about finished with small square straw bales. I have one load left to bring tomorrow morning. They brought the last loads of big squares 2 days ago, Thursday, Saturday today. Got Ian and Eli with me today. Get them out of the house for a few hours. We're just picking up the sorghum Italian ryegrass bales here. There's quite a few loads out here, a lot more than I was expecting actually. There wasn't a whole lot of sorghum this second cutting. It was mainly Italian ryegrass, but it was thick. We had a little over 2 bales per acre. They weigh about 2,000 pounds each. They were around 40% moisture, 60% dry matter. To kind of give you an idea what the yield was here. So we're loading those bales up here today. And we did cut 4th cutting alfalfa that's laying down right now. We're going to try to make dry hay out of that. That potentially Monday or Tuesday. Forecast looks really good. Some hotter days here. Tomorrow it's going to be 85. Monday 85, Tuesday 89 with not very much chance of rain. So we thought with the forecast we could try to make some dry hay. What are you doing there, guys? So as you can see, the ryegrass is fairly green again. It's coming back pretty quick, but the plan is we're going to take this opportunity. We got maybe 2 weeks or so before we start chopping corn, about 10 days, 14 days. Start spreading some solid manure is kind of the plan if we're able to. We do have round bales of straw coming in yet. About 1,400 of those hauled in already. But we have around 3,500 or so that need to be hauled in. Hopefully in the next 7 days or so we could get a lot of those hauled in. I don't think we'll finish that before we start chopping corn, but I'd like to get most of those hauled in. What are you guys doing? It's not raining. It's not raining. Huh? We did get that manure pump going and it's still running, but I do need to check it again. Because I think the shaft on the motor and the shaft on the pump are maybe not quite lined up right. Because it is making a little bit of a different noise than it did before, a little bit of an off noise, almost like there might be just a small vibration or something in between the shafts. There's a chain that connects the sprocket on the pump and the motor together, but if it's off just a touch it could potentially vibrate. So I do have to check that when I've got some time here. Hopefully here this coming week, but I'd like to get that done before corn silage for sure. But just wanted to give you guys a quick update. Just finish this video. Yeah, questions, comments, post them down below. Appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. You guys want to say bye?